Now people can sit up here and as I said earlier this morning down in Broward County, you can demonize, you can demagogue, but the bottom line is this: when you're in an ambush, you got to take an action. You have to have the courage to do so. There's a fiscal train wreck coming for the United States of America. And if you don't have people that are willing to recognize that and come up with solutions, then we're heading into the abyss. The actuaries and the trustees of Medicare and Social Security testified before the House Energy and Commerce Committee last year. We got 8 to 9 years for Medicare before it's bankrupt. After that, there's about another 5 to 6 years for Social Security before you start seeing a severe degradation of benefits for Social Security, anywhere from 25 to 30%. That's the truth. That's the facts. And if no one wants to stand up and be a man, be a woman, and recognize that and come up with solutions, they just want to sit back and throw stones. That's not how we protect the future of the United States of America. I'm 51 years of age. These programs may not be there for me unless we do something for them. And actually, for some of our seniors that are in these programs right now, if we don't come up with solutions, the benefits may dry up. There is no independent trust fund account, folks. Politicians have spent it up. There are IOUs sitting there. They took it out of the independent trust fund account, they brought it into the general operating account, and they've been spending it up. That's why it's good to not have earmarks and pork barrel spending anymore, because that was wasteful spending. But let's talk about the budget that was passed last week. Roll the tape, please.
Choice that's going to determine our country's future. Will it be the future that looks like the America we know? One of greater opportunity, greater prosperity, or more of what we're seeing today, debt, doubt, and decline? Americans, not Washington, should decide. In 2010, voters asked for an alternative to the direction that government was taking the country. Last year, House Republicans responded by passing a budget to control government spending. And we're back with a budget that offers real solutions again. Make no mistake, years of empty promises from both political parties got us in this mess today. But when it comes to the federal budget, the Democrat-led Senate hasn't even proposed one in 3 years. They continue to spend, but there's zero accountability. The president has proposed a budget, but it calls for more spending and more debt. Despite imposing roughly $2 trillion in tax increases on hardworking taxpayers, the debt still skyrockets under his plan. And it will put us on par with countries like Greece. That will mean sudden cuts to benefits, sudden tax increases, and really a fundamental change to the American way of life as we know it. This doesn't have to be our future. Instead, we've shared with Americans a specific plan of action that cuts spending, pays off the debt, and gets our economy back on the path to prosperity. Real, specific reform is needed to strengthen the health and retirement security of seniors and the economic security of all Americans. We've shown how, under the President's health care law, Medicare goes bankrupt. And we've exposed how this law takes control away from current seniors and gives that power to a board of 15 unelected bureaucrats. Our plan includes no changes for those in and near retirement. Instead of government bureaucrats, puts patients in control of their healthcare decisions. We propose tax reform that's common sense, a plan that lowers tax rates and closes special interest loopholes, so our tax code is fairer, simpler, and more competitive. That's how we'll create a healthier environment for businesses to hire and expand. The common thread here is that our plan takes power away from Washington and gives it back to the individual. Because it's the American people, not bureaucrats in Washington, who make this nation what it is. Now, it's up to the people to demand from their government a better budget, a better plan, and a choice between two futures. The question is, which future will we choose?
It truly does come down to a choice between two futures. And that's what we are presenting to the American people. Next slide. On the 1st of April, joke was on the United States of America. We now have the highest corporate business tax rate in the world at 39.2%. When you add in the 4 to 7% for states, now that top corporate business tax rate can go anywhere from 43 to 46%. There are many loopholes, and we think that we can take those rates lower and we can eliminate the loopholes. When you continue to hear people talk about raising taxes on the upper brackets, unfortunately, I think people in Washington, D.C. don't understand that small business owners operate as subchapter S corporations or LLCs. They use their personal income tax rates. If you continue to talk about raising those rates on people, then what happens? All through our communities, we see down here in South Florida, those closed storefronts, where there used to be some Americans that were working, Floridians that were working. America has to be open for business, and one of the critical things that we need to do is have the right tax and regulatory policies that make sure that America is open for business. You cannot tax people enough. You just cannot. Next year, we're looking at another $1.3 trillion deficit. And as you see, the size of the federal government expected to grow by 50%, 53% over the next 10 years. That's heading in the wrong direction. If there's construction in Washington, D.C., who is funding that construction in Washington, D.C.? Who is funding the 16,000 new IRS agents that are looking to be hired under the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act? Who is funding the 159 new government agencies and bureaucracies that are part of the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act? 11 new taxes to include a 3.8% real estate transaction tax. You can shake your head, but that's what's in the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act. This budget, people can say it was a gimmick or whatever. It was brought up before the House. It was introduced by Republicans in the Budget Committee, the President's budget. The other side didn't even want to introduce it. It failed 0 to 414. Last year, the fiscal year 2012 budget for President Obama failed 0 to 97 in the Senate. I'm just telling you the facts. Next slide. From George Washington to Bill Clinton, more debt has been added to the United States of America in the past 3 years and 3 months than all of those presidential administrations prior. But the worst thing is that if we continue on this path, the national debt, which at the end of this year will be $16.2 trillion, 106.2% of our GDP, will then go to some $26 trillion in 2022. I understand wanting a balanced approach, but the budget never balances. All it does is give you more of that debt. Next slide. The individual mandate that the Supreme Court heard about last week. If you read the Commerce Clause, it says very simply that the Congress is able to regulate commerce among several states, foreign nations, and Indian tribes. Then what you need to do is go do a little research, cross-reference what the word commerce meant. At the time the Declaration was written, commerce, when they wrote that, meant trade. And that is a power under Article 1, Section 8. But the danger is this, is that now all of a sudden, the federal government can create commerce, create a marketing environment for the individual American, then mandate that the individual American must purchase a certain contractual private agreement, enter into that agreement. Then where does it end? It's all about the precedent that is established here. I mean, if we're telling you have to buy health care insurance, then do we tell you what kind of car you have to buy? What kind of food you have to buy? What type of clothes you have to buy? You know, this is very interesting, and then you cannot stretch it enough to try to make it fit into what the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act is trying to say. Because it really will end up violating the very basic premise of this constitutional republic. That's individual sovereignty. Because where does it end? You still have this independent payment advisory board, 15 unelected bureaucrats that will make all the price control decisions on Medicare. And it takes a 3/5 supermajority out of the Senate to overturn whatever decisions that the IPAB makes.